Hi, welcome. My name is Angelique. I am continuing my astrology talk on different placements, and today we're going to understand the Sun in Leo placement. I'm excited to talk about it. If it's your first time with me, I have been a student of astrology for almost 30 years, and I also have an extensive background in counseling, mental health, psychology. So I really like uncovering things, finding out about ourselves, and astrology is great because we can apply it to ourselves, our beings, our mind, our body, even. So it's a really great tool I have found for myself and for other people to find out about your direction, your life path, unconscious behaviors, patterns, emotions, anything to do with that. So it's a really great blend. So I'm looking at astrology from a personality perspective, from a psychological perspective. And even though you can use astrology for prediction, I'm doing it more for a self discovery tool, should we say. And so I'm starting a series and doing these talks where we're going by each placement to see if we can really understand it and how we can apply it to our lives. And I bring in mythology, symbolism, and elemental astrology, which is the four elements: earth, air, water, fire. And so when we bring all that together, we're taking what could be just purely spiritual or energetic and helping ground it into the physical. And that makes it practical, that makes it easier to understand how we can use astrology for our life path, our goals, anything else. So, let's start with the sign of Leo and the mythology. And what I'm going to do is, I've talked about this before. Most of the planets in astrology have foundation in Roman mythology. Now, Leo is interesting because the sign of Leo is ruled by the sun. So it's a star, it's not a planet. And so I'm going to touch on the Roman sun god, which is Sol. Sol is not the only sun god out there. Lots of cultures and traditions have them. Most notably, there's the Greek sun god named Helios, which shares some similarities with Sol, but I'm going to focus on Sol just for continuity purposes. All my other videos in astrology in this series focus on more so Roman mythology because that's where the planets get a lot of their attributes when we are talking about astrology. So that's just a little aside. But please go forth if you would like to know more about sun gods and mythology and bring that in. They can definitely apply to these signs. But for this talk, we're going to do Sol, who is, like I said, the Roman sun god. And what makes Sol even more fascinating is that it's not a purely theological, mythological deity, because the sun is something that we here on earth directly experience and feel every single day. So it makes it even a more direct link to the sun god, to this energy. And what we know about the sun god Sol is that just like the sun, he brings light and heat to the world, mark the changes of the seasons. So, like the summer solstice is a good example, but also sustained everything living beneath the sun. And that's us as humans, that's plants, that's animals. So, everything in our world that is growing and a living being can say we are here thriving mostly because of the sun. So it's a very big figure, and that's such a big, powerful energy, which is a lot to live up to. It's a big figure. Traditionally, when we saw cult followings of the sun god Sol, they they were tracking the sun's position to know when to farm, to know when to harvest, to know what's best. I mean, we even still use that today. Is it going to be a good season to grow? What are the best plants and herbs to grow? And that a lot of that depends on where you are in relation to the sun. Pla- Places closer to the equator and hotter, places that have sun more often are going to bear different plants and growth and harvest than the colder areas where sun doesn't show up as much. And this divine God, when it's given a more corporeal form, is somebody who is young and active and radiant. The sun god Sol also has a counterpart and a sibling in the form of Luna, which I talk about in my Sun in Cancer talk on YouTube, which you can listen to if you want to hear a little bit more about that. But they're the yin and yang energy. There's the masculine and the feminine energy. So when we lean into the symbolism here of the soul god and we tie this to Leo, it brings a very masculine energy opposite of the moon feminine energy. So traditionally, yang energy or yang, however you want to say it, is masculine in that it's direct, it's bold, it's intensely felt. If you've ever been outside in the sun too long and it's direct on your skin, after a while it doesn't feel so great and can lead to sunburn and anything else. So its presence is always felt, and it's hard to do a lot of things in our life, especially outside, if the sun is present in a certain way or if it's not present. So one example being if you have a garden and you want to plant, say you want to plant tomatoes, if you are completely covering the seeds and never get sunlight, even indirectly, that can really hamper the growth. So the sign of Leo in astrology really embodies all of these traits when we think of the personality. The sun is our personality. It is what shines the most to people and makes people notice. So when we have Leo, it's embodying that sun energy anyway. So the sun is vibrant. The sign of Leo is youthful and radiant. So when Leo shows up in the natal chart, not even just in the sun, anywhere, but it's doubly felt with the sun, Leo will bring this radiant and youthful energy, but also this very direct quality, this leadership, but not even just a leader just to be a leader, but it's almost like a magnetic quality to the leadership. As I said before, farmers and everything on earth really can't do much depending on what's happening with the sun. If you're a traveler and you're on foot, you wait until the sun comes back up before it's maybe safe to travel. Planting food, nourishing plants, animals, any of that, we rely on the sun to do everything. So we kind of look to the sun to guide us. And when we personify the sign of Leo like that in our natal chart, that's where we might naturally feel called to lead. Even if we might not feel comfortable doing it, we have that ability. It's this natural magnet quality that other people are going to look to you for guidance. So when Leo is in the placement of the sun, there's a doubly strong and intense desire to be youthful and playful and radiant, but also a leader. This is going to double that effect. And because Leo is at home in this placement of the sun, it's going to appear effortless or even just natural. Even if someone with this placement, Sun and Leo, works on something like a craft or a talent, or a career, and there is effort that comes into that, but that effort and that struggle might not be as felt for the person. And for other people, they might not see it as easily. So even if you do training to become an actor, let's say, and you get on stage, it might feel very natural for you, or there might be a lot less blockages or challenges for someone with this placement to shine in that way, as opposed to any of the other 11 placements. They can still shine in the realm of acting. There just might be other things that they have to do, if that makes sense. So, Sun in Leo makes it almost easier and natural, a nice flow, a lot less resistance if you're going to do anything where you are front and center, leading people, commanding people, helping anybody grow or thrive. So we have fire versus fire. So we have this is a very intensely passionate sign, placement, Sun in Leo, because of these two fire energies. And when you get fire and fire together, it is bold and bright, and this is what makes you radiate. Like there's almost like a strong animal magnet quality to your energy that people, you just kind of pull people into your orbit without even, you might, you might not even have to do anything. This is what we talk about, natural charisma. A lot of leaders, big world leaders too, have Sun in Leo because they just naturally can bring people into the orbit. You, even if you have other aspects, difficult aspects in your natal chart that maybe make it hard for you to believe in yourself, I promise you, you turn heads, especially in any areas that is maybe more playful to you, that feels fun to you, or anything that you're passionate about. The downside to this, and there's always going to be a downside, and there's less with Sun and Leo, but because it is so fiery and there's no other elements here to kind of temper it, that can make what you are passionate about maybe too intense. And you can run the risk of being too impulsive, and can even lead to controlling or manipulating behavior if you are too focused on getting that attention from other people. So it's a fine line, and a lot of people I know who have this placement, they naturally bring people to them. But there's a quality, there's an aspect to this that can make it that you only want to do stuff to get attention from other people. And if that is your motivation, is to get attention from other people instead of to be playful and passionate and compassionate, that is where it can kind of turn darker, and you run the risk of pushing people away, which is what you don't want when you have Leo in the sun. You like having other people, come to you. And so that's just something to be aware of, that it can be too much of a good thing, which is, so you are naturally radiant and there's not much you have to do. But it's a reminder to stay in this kind of playful, youthful energy. You will get more people coming to you than if you are focusing on how to get people, if that makes sense. So, since the sun is a great energy we can work with when we want to gr- grow and be successful and gain power, Sun and Leo, these people, they're already in the right placement. So, it's just finding what connects to you, what you feel passionate about and makes you feel playful. And everyone's going to have differences about this, but just a few examples can be a political leader, like I said before, But this can also be a motivational speaker. This can also be any type of CEO or the face of a product. A brand is what I'm thinking because that is what's going to draw people in. Modeling is another factor. The sign of Leo and the sun rules our heart center. So anything that connects to your heart in a way, anything that connects to the emotions, this can also be the playful side, anything that's youthful or with children. Leo is the sign of the youthful child, the playful child. So we see a lot of teachers who have sun in Leo, anyone in the arts. There's so many people who have Sun and Leo in the arts, but particularly anything where you're front and center is where we're going to see a lot of. So this is your singers, your actors. You might even be someone that makes art that's geared towards children, like children's music or children's programming, where it's fun and light and playful. But regardless of what you choose to do, if you have the sun in Leo, as long as you are in your heart, you're doing things from the heart, you are going to radiate, you're going to shine. And it's really whatever is naturally called to you that feels good, that feels playful, that feels fun. That's where a lot of your success in life can be, and where other people can feel attracted and uh, feel pulled into your orbit, so to speak. Okay, so that was Sun and Leo. Thank you so much for listening. If you have that placement or you want to share anything about what you heard today, you can leave a comment. Otherwise, thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.